How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we do this 5 days out of the work week. Maybe you had maybe you had a stressful day, or maybe it was the market conditions where you came to watch this video, plus hear one of my corny jokes. Here it comes. Why did the kid throw his clock out the window? Because he wanted to see time fly. Not too bad. But anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is OCGN. Despite the fact we ended up having a choppy day inside of the market, I must say I'm satisfied with its overall performance. But before we get started, of course, let's go over the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to be going over is a technical analysis, taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, and what type of move does the stock need to do so it can begin to start looking really bullish again. And then secondly, we're going to be taking a look on Fintel at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. We're going to see, hey, what institutions, what filings have been put in regards to how many shares they are purchasing, and then on top of that, as far as the short interest, seeing if OCGN continues to have short squeeze potential. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow. We want to know, were there any large scale orders that ended up going through today? This tells us that institutions are either loading up or they're dumping shares out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's jump to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for OCGN. Let's see how it performed on the day. So ended up closing at $6.90, being up 1.17%. On the low, it tested $6.67, and then on the high, testing $7.02. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, we traded at 8.656 million shares. And as far as for the average volume over 10 trading days, is usually around 17.298 million shares. So even though it was below average volume, we still saw some strength in OCGN stock, which is great to see. Now, when we take a look at the indicators on our chart, we see the RSI down below is around 45.37. So yes, we are in the oversold territory, but we are fairly close to the middle as well. When we take a look at the 200-day, of course, we have strength above it, but we are below the 100-day and as well as the 21-day EMA, which you guys already know already. I wanted to see OCGN actually come back to reclaiming and showing some strength in this particular area of $7.23. But do keep in mind, one thing that is good to see, we want to see OCGN continue to have strength, build up consolidation and support in this area close to around $7. Yes, it did close at $6.90, but again, if we can keep that going into the end of after hours, even at $6.80, I think things continue to look good, because then tomorrow we can make that retest going to that $7 level. One thing to do keep in mind of the fact here, you guys can see that area is now a psychological area. It's a resistance area. When we reach it, we tend to get some selling pressure. So what I want to look forward to is seeing more volume coming in, more buying, so we can come back and reclaim this 21-day EMA. And then the next level of resistance that we'd have to start looking at will be right here around this $7.70 level. If we can pass it, then we can look forward to going back to $8. But of course, we have to do things step by step here. So we want to see a test of this $7.70 and being able to go through it. As far as going further back, as far as taking a look at the next resistance level, of course, is going to be at this 21-day EMA, and is the reason why I'm really emphasizing the importance of wanting to see OCGN actually get above it. But for the most part, as long as we are staying above $6.75, $6.50, and as well as the $6 range, still looking good technical wise. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership for OCGN. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we can see here, as far as for July the 27th, we have Creative Financial Designs that filed, and they went in with 3,930 shares with a value of $32,000. So that is something that is good to see. And we could also see on the 26th, we have Stars Ohio that purchased 42,800 shares. So definitely that's a bullish outlook right there, and the value of this you can see clearly is around 343K. So definitely some good things to see that institutions are purchasing shares of OCGN. So we're on Fintel. We're going to take a look at the short interest information for OCGN. So you can see here the short volume ratio being at 28.58%. As we scroll down on the page, the short shares availability is at 400,000, updated 23 minutes ago. And as far as for the short ball fee rate being at 8.89%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, looking at FINRA numbers, we could see the close for July the 26th. It was around 48.45%, and on July the 23rd, which we covered, it was at 52.50%. So taking this into consideration, OCGN does continue to have short squeeze potential, but do keep in mind, in order to force a short squeeze here, we'd have to have a lot more buying volume coming into the stock. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for OCGN. So we can see here on the inflow we have 12,759, and on the outflow we have 11,916. So we had an inflow day. So as far as on the large, we had 462. As far as for the medium, we had 8,927. And as far as for the small, we had 3,370. Now, on the outflow side, on the large, we had 733. On the medium, we had 7,168. And as well as for the small, we had 4,014. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for the 26th and as well as for the 27th, it has been an outflow day. And for 27th, we have 270.66. So even though we ended up having an inflow day, there were a lot more large scale orders. So what we need to take this as, yes, institutions were dumping out shares, but at the same time, we still had institutions going in with large scale orders as well. And it's part of the reasons why we see continued strength in OCGN stock. It would be a concern if we saw, you know what, as far as large scale orders are concerned, it was just dumping. That was all we were seeing. But we're still seeing some inflows on the institutional side. And since we don't know exactly what those large orders are, it's part of the reasons why when you see that price action, it gives you a good idea in the fact that it's very significant on the inflow side. So please keep that in mind. And as far as for the price action, that's why we saw some consistency. It was able to be stable, especially inside of a choppy market. So now let's jump into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for OCGN, it was definitely great to see how well it was able to hold up today. We saw there were a lot of pullbacks happening in a good amount of growth stocks. Yes, we ended up seeing some recovery towards the end of the day, but at the same time, it could have been a lot worse of an outcome. And as far as the areas that we want to see continue to hold up, as long as we're staying above 675 or higher, then we can look forward to seeing that move and getting that possible test so we can go back into the $8 range. And of course, I want to see OCGN be able to at least finish off the week at 7. But even if it doesn't happen, I'm still going to remain bullish when it comes to this play. Now, when we took a look at Fintel, we could see institutions have put in their filings, and yes, they have been loading up as of late. And then on top of that, this play does continue to have short squeeze potential. So keeping everything in mind as far as the price action is concerned, we want to make sure we continue to watch the volume. If we have more volume in, there's more buying pressure, or even when we get those catalysts, which we're looking out for, which means the updates in regards to the BLA, and as well as from WHO in regards to the EUL, the emergency use listing, I feel this can have a very big impact on the stock, and of course waiting on the update from Health Canada as well. So we just have to continue to be patient if you are inside of this play, and just make sure you have high conviction and you have patience. If you don't have these considerations in regards to the investment that you made inside of OCGN, I really do think you need to rethink your strategy so you're doing something that actually works well for you. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.